Folks, welcome back to another edition of the ISD official visit. Have a special guest today joining us, 2022 Notre Dame offensive line commit, Aamil Wagner. Aamil, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we got to give Aamil credit. We did this a couple weeks ago, and I messed up on my end. We had some technical issues. So this is kind of round two for Aamil. We appreciate him coming back, but obviously we've had a lot of new news since the last time we talked and did this. Aamil, what was last week like for you from Monday on?
I think last week was definitely a little bit hectic. I remember when the news dropped, and obviously came with that was multiple calls from coaches, friends, family, all kind of concerned of what's happening, what's going on, what your decision is. And so I was glad. I kind of took a step back from answering phone calls and just took time to assess the situation to the best of my ability. And I was glad the decision was made as head coach. And so now we're all good. We're all settled in. Everything's moving smoothly.
That's kind of in line with the way you've handled this entire recruiting process. I mean, I remember talking to you way back, and you're like, if COVID hadn't happened, I probably would have made an early decision. But it's happened. I have to deal with it, and I have to take my time. And I know you took a round of visits in the summer and thought maybe you'd be ready to make a decision. Maybe you wouldn't, but you'll see. And is that just kind of the way you kind of attack all big decisions?
Definitely, I think one thing my parents taught me is take time on decisions, especially big ones. And so I really wanted with everything I do so far, since it's a big decision, just take the time, look at every aspect of it, and just make the best one possible.
Okay. And what was it about Coach Freeman's hiring where you're like, yeah, now we're all set. This is a good move?
I think really, I had an established relationship with Coach Freeman already, since he not only went to my high school, but he stayed connected to the program, especially while he was in Cincinnati. And so, kind of knowing him on a personal level from as early as sixth, seventh grade, however long it's been, to now, and kind of building that relationship over years, made me feel really comfortable with him. And so now that he stepped into the position of power in Notre Dame, I felt good.
Okay. And obviously, Coach Rees is back as well. And I know he played a role in your decision as well, too, right?
Yeah, that's big. Having people that's going to directly affect me stay, especially, Coach Rees, obviously a bright young man, one of the best coaches, I think personally. I think he's done a great job so far, and having him kind of return and be able to coach me the next couple of years is great.
Okay. And you guys will all get a chance. I think it's awesome that you guys are getting a chance to take an extra official visit to Notre Dame, and you'll do so this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for it. I know Steve and the rest of the guys all kind of told me about it originally that there was a new head coach. We can go down there again. And so we all kind of hyped ourselves up for it. Now that it's coming true and get a chance to go down there and spend time with the future teammates is great.
What's it going to be like? It's going to be. It almost seems like it's going to be like a kind of a minor celebration after a hectic week and everything settled down this week, and now you guys will get a chance to reconvene, and everything's pretty much the dust is settled. What do you think it's going to be like to hang out with those guys?
I think it should be a good experience. I think some of us went on an official visit together when I went down there, but to get a chance to actually meet most of the full class and kind of calm down, talk to each other, it's going to be a good time. Now, obviously, it's going to be a celebration because I feel like we all got the coach we wanted, and so it's going to be a celebration and just the time to hang out and see each other again.
Okay. And when we talked last time, when we tried to do this last time, you kind of surprised me, and obviously your decision surprised everybody. People were speculating heavily that you were going to go to Kentucky, and then you surprised everybody, and you surprised Notre Dame. They didn't know what you were going to say when you went up there, right?
They did not. Yeah, I made a decision kind of right before I went on, and so I didn't get a chance actually to call out to Notre Dame, so they found out when everyone else did.
Okay. And what was it like when they were trying to get a hold of you afterwards?
It was crazy, really, because I'm not a huge phone guy, and so I remember celebrating my friends. They're all at the event, so my family. I look at my phone. It's a whole bunch of missed calls from Coach Quinn, a lot of missed texts from the coaches around the coaching staff, and so it was a little hectic. And finally, Coach Quinn called my head coach, who actually answered the phone and gave it to me. So it was actually the first time talking to him after the decision.
Okay. And how fired up was he?
He was extremely fired up. He said he about passed out, had a heart attack, all the above, and so it sounded like I could see the passion in his, or I could hear the passion in his voice and how excited he was to get a chance to coach me and just be around me for the next 4 years. So it was really exciting.
And what was it? Obviously, it was like Notre Dame, and it seemed like Notre Dame and Kentucky going down the stretch there, and obviously your brother's on staff at Kentucky. What was those final days and hours like when you're coming to a final decision?
I think those final days were very hectic because going up to that day, I haven't really made a decision yet. I remember my brother and my sister came home the day before, and I've been talking to my mom and dad the whole entire week. And so just arguing every point for or against each school. And then seeing how it comes down to it. I remember the day before I was up till 1:30, 2 a.m., whoever it was, just talking to my siblings, see what they think, and bounce ideas off of them. So it was pretty hectic, but I was glad kind of that morning, took a deep breath, and then was able to make a decision.
Okay. And like I said, obviously your brother was at Kentucky, but what was the advice he gave you?
I think the advice he gave me is don't really worry about anybody else. Just make the best decision for you. Obviously, there's going to be people that's going to judge your decision either way, but just do what feels right and do what you think is the best.
And obviously you come from a very athletic family. Everybody there is, seems like they're big time athletes. Tell everybody about, the athletic background in your family.
So it started with my parents. My mom and dad actually met at Jackson State University. My dad played middle linebacker and outside linebacker for Jackson State for 4 years, and my mom ran track. And they had us. My oldest brother went to Texas Southern University where he played special teams linebacker. My second oldest, Ahmad, he's probably one of the best athletes of all of us. He played basketball at Iowa originally and then decided to transfer and play football for Kentucky wide receiver. My sister is more of a track person like my mom. She actually does shot put and discus hammer. And so she went to Kentucky State where she broke every school record as a freshman. The only event except discus. And there's me, who's the youngest of them. I think I still got a long way to go, but I'm catching up with them so far.
Okay. Even with that, extreme athletic background, I mean, that's not you guys are more than athletes. Like that's not even, what are some of the values your parents really kind of instill in you guys?
I think the main values they instilled in us was God fearing from the beginning. We grew up in the Central Chapel AME Church, and so every Sunday we were at church regardless of what was going on. And so having the Lord be a big part of my life was important to us. But our parents really wanted to make sure we were well around the kids growing up. We grew up in a small village in Yellow Springs, and you didn't do just one thing like it was football, basketball, baseball. You did everything. And so I remember growing up. At one point, I was doing baseball with eighth graders in fourth grade. I was playing on the actual traveling kickball team, AAU basketball, football, soccer, whatever it was. And so even going into elementary, I played an instrument for 4 years. I acted in music schools. So it was just being well-rounded people was what they really instilled in us and being good Samaritans.
And that kind of background kind of played itself into you choosing Notre Dame as well, right?
Definitely. I think Notre Dame, one thing provided was more than just football. I think when I came down to the decision, it was actually kind of sparked my head coach. He planted an idea in my head that football ends one day, and so it's not going to go on forever. Whether you get into high school, college, NFL, have a great career, it's going to end one day. And what are you going to be without it? So I think Notre Dame provided me with the best possibility, best outcome with the education system they have and the resources they have available to them. I feel like I was going to be set up for life with them.
Okay, football's going to end one day, but not anytime soon for you. And I know Notre Dame fans are really excited about watching you in South Bend for the next few years. Aamil, congratulations! Really appreciate you coming back, doing this again for us, and glad a eventful week turned out well for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for having me.